So, who here wants to talk about grief? No? Oh, a couple people. That's exciting. Well, we're all friends now, so we're gonna get a little uncomfortable. Oh no, she's gonna make me do something weird. Maybe. Raise your hand if you've ever lost someone you dearly love. Now keep your hands raised if you had to admit it, you're not completely over it. Look around for a second. Look at each other. Yeah. There is power in naming our grief. Thank you. You can put your hands down. Collectively, we've lost so many people in this country, and we've gone through a period of loss that's unimaginable, and we've all been changed. Not only have we lost people, but we've also lost our way of life. And we need to name that grief. We need to talk about it, now more than ever. I come here as a person who has learned her own specific grief dance. Not only have I learned not to numb it or avoid it, but I've learned to become curious and observant. And more importantly, I've learned to move through it. Over the last decade, I've lost my entire nuclear family, some of whom are on this slide. My adoptive parents and my biological parents, and several family members and dear friends. I had to learn how to move through my grief, and my practice as an artist helped me do that. But it really wasn't easy. Have you ever tried to explain your grief to somebody else? It's really hard. I find it really virtually impossible. Like falling in love, grieving is an ineffable process. It's hard to describe. But when I read Angels in America by queer playwright and activist Tony Kushner, and it's a beautiful day to be sharing this because today is World AIDS Day. It was about the AIDS epidemic. I found language for what I was feeling. You can read the slide with me. In your experience of the world, how do people change? Well, it has something to do with God, so it's not very nice. God splits the skin with a jagged thumbnail from throat to belly, and then he plunges a huge, filthy hand in. He grabs hold of your bloody tubes, and they slip to evade his grasp, but he squeezes hard. He pulls and he pulls till he yanks all of your innards out of the pain. Oof, can't even talk about that. And then he stuffs them back, dirty, tangled, and torn. It's up to you to do the stitching. And then up you get and walk around, just mangled guts pretending. That's how people change. Well, that sounds great, doesn't it? Who wants to do that? Yeah? If that's the grief process of transformation, I think we'd all rather opt out. But the truth is, as my friends, the only way out is through. I've had to learn about my grief, and I had to learn ways to navigate it. I had to learn how to dance with my grief rather than avoid it. I've been dancing for as long as I can remember. I was a dance member at the dance ensemble here at Milton, and I even won a dance competition as a teen. But I'm not going to come in here as a professional dancer. There will be no Alvin Ailey on this stage. It's gonna be pretty chill. But my practice as an artist, as a screenwriter, as a multidisciplinary artist and activist, has helped me to embody my feelings. Around the time I started dancing, I lost my dad. I was 10. My dad, his name is Ken, or Tony, as he's known in my family, and he passed away from a heart attack. I knew that everything in my life would be different after that moment. And the morning that I found out, my adoptive parents tried to bring me Dunkin' Donuts to distract me from the loss. And I've never been able to look at donuts the same, I mean, I eat them, I just feel weird about it. Nothing in my life was ever the same after that moment. My father became a was before I even got a chance to know him. But when I went back to dance, there was always the bar. And I was able, day in and day out, to find the familiarity of routine. Dance rooted me amidst the chaos and uncertainty of the outside world. And then there was always my grandmother there, Linda, to wrap my sweaty body in a winter coat and take me home. She and her partner, John, became my adoptive parents, and they sheltered me. So when my grandmother, Linda, decades later, fell into a coma from COVID, I didn't think I could handle it. The loss was unimaginable. But you know what I discovered? That even death can be beautiful. We sang to her. We held her hand. We played her favorite music. We gently ushered her spirit to rest. These two deaths were completely unimaginable, and they changed me forever. And I went through a lot of losses. My stepfather, Michael, who's in the middle going like this, walked across a 5-lane highway and was hit by a truck. My father figure, John, and my mother, Nikki, passed within 6 months of each other from different kinds of cancer. I thought I would never recover. In the US, death is dealt with like it's one size fits all, right? I mean, there are these stages. There are 5 of them. They seem pretty simple, you know? Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. Well, I can follow that. That's easy enough, yeah? I mean, I went to at least 12 years of school, or more, and I can follow directions. Except when you get your very own box of grief, they're more like IKEA directions. Impossible to follow, and in Swedish. I mean, that's the thing. I actually think that grief is more disjointed and all over the place, right? I think the stages of grief happen out of order and out of sync. And sometimes I think they also happen at the same time. I know, mind blown. Honestly, we aren't even the only species that mourns. Swans, for example, right, are monogamous animals, and they are known to yearn for their lost partner, the one being that they can count on in times of stress. You know, grief is universal, and yet it's largely misunderstood. Dancing, however, is just finding a beat and grooving. And I think that grieving is a little like this. It's your own movement sequence. It's not one size fits all. Every experience of grief is unique. It's got its own movement, melody, rhythm, and pulse. Around the time I started dealing with my mother's loss, it was around 2015, and I found myself just dancing out in my living room to different kinds of music, especially Prince. Prince reminded me of my mother's unique essence because my mother, Nikki, loved to dance. She loved it. And she embodied this unique spirit that Prince reminded me of. Dancing to Prince's music helped me heal, and it brought me closer to my mom. Something else that's misunderstood about grief that I think we don't really think about is that it has something to do with the body. Grief can really affect your nervous system, and it can wreak havoc on it if not dealt with. There are all kinds of problems that you can have if you do not deal with your grief, such as hypertension, inflammation, and even heart problems. It probably surprises no one here, but grief can literally damage your heart. So you need to think about how grief is in your body and how we deal with it. Because honestly, without dealing with it, you can suffer some real challenges. We're gonna do a little experiment. This is the weird thing. If you could do me a favor and stand up. Yep, oh, this is great. Yes, fantastic. Okay. So, whatever you're feeling about me right now, or yourself that you brought in this room, put it in your feet, okay? And just feel that sensation. Tired, exhausted, frustrated. And now move your knees just slightly. Please be careful and take care of yourself. And your hips. Okay, come on, we can do a little better than that. There we go, that's it. Okay, now let that come up to your torso, and you're gonna move your torso. Some of the speechies in the room know what I'm talking about. And then we come up all the way to the top, and we're gonna shake it out the top, friends. Amazing, that was wonderful. All right, we're gonna do one more time. And really put it in your feet. Feel whatever you're feeling in your feet. Allow that to be there, okay? And move your knees, faster, like little drummer boy. And hips, yes, okay. And then all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. And put a little noise in your feet. Ah! Excellent, set on down. Thank you so much. You did amazing with that. Thank you. So why did I do that? That was fun. First of all, it was fun, and it's been a long night. But moreover, that is an example of a somatic type exercise. If you've never heard of somatics, I'm not a somatic professional, but I'm really interested in the science and the connection of the mind and the body. And that's an example of getting all of your feelings into and through this beautiful meat suit that we carry around with us for our whole lives. I encourage you to look into dance, into movement, into massage, into boxing, whatever it is that can help you to really move through some of these heavy, heavy feelings. Grief is one of the things that I have had to really learn how to navigate and learn how to deal with. And there are so many ways to move through loss. My dear friend Kyle, who's here right now, bought this beautiful money tree and named it after his friend Hepzibah when she passed, and it grew high up to the ceiling. What a beautiful offering. And I went on a shamanic journey. I know it's a little woo-woo for some people, with my friend and classmate Sarah Shea, who also went to Milton here with me. And we did doula services together. And I found messages from my grandmother Linda that helped me to ease my grief. And also, there are cultural traditions such as Dia de los Muertos in Mexico and the Yoruba tradition in Ifa, where they have ancestor worship. And you can continue the relationship that you have with your dead loved ones long after you're gone. And I encourage you to make sure you have that connection. Dancing has saved my life more than once. When I was young, it gave me discipline. When I was older, it gave me the freedom to let go. And now, through my grief journey, dance has taught me many lessons about life, especially that it's temporary. Like the length of a song, it all ends. Dance is also the expression of spirit. If dance and grief, if grief experienced is painful change, then it can also bring about beautiful transformation. If we can learn to accept the finality of life, we can learn to live a little more fully. My grandmother Linda left me with one beautiful message, many, but one that I remember. In her nursing home, she was sitting one day and she blurted out, "I want to go roller skating." And I just bust out, but I also knew she wanted to move. She wanted out of that body, and she wanted to be able to express her spirit. So now we're all friends, and I want you to know that grief is a lot of things. It's messy, it's painful, it's lonely, it's exhausting. It's also yours. You get to do with it whatever you want, and you get to learn how it works for you. No one gets to tell you what it is, and no one gets to give you rules. That's really important. Moreover, I hope that you can learn to dance with your grief and learn how its rhythm works for you. Make sure you take it out for walks and maybe even just a full-on living room dance session. Whatever it is, learn your grief and find a rhythm with it. find your melody, find your pulse, because I promise you it will thank you. And you'll learn more about you and the people that you love. I just want to give a shout out to my family. I lived this story with these people, so thank you for being here for me and showing up today. And for all the people that aren't here, they're so proud today. So thank you. Thank you so much.